Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review another episode of Cape Fear. And I am here to review Cape Fear Season 1, Episode 7, Mongrel. This episode in this show is fit for a mongrel. Okay, I mean this show, it has fallen so far off, and it's sad because the first half was heavily flawed, but there were so many promising things about it, and it felt like it was an interesting idea. There were interesting ideas mixed in there and potential for a really different but interesting take on the original story. However, this episode, I really don't know. I mean, last episode was fun, but it was still kind of bad because, like, you know, as I've stated before many times, the show set up at first, okay, maybe this is going to be like the original, but then we're going to twist things. We're going to, make you question things. There's going to be mysteries. There's going to be, all these new characters. But then in episode 6, it's like, oh, well, sorry, but we're just going to kind of play it safe. And we're going to stick to what would be the safest option, the safest possible choices, the safest possible outcomes, with Max Cady being the bad guy, which it's such a strange idea because he was always the bad guy in the other stories and the book, and it's like, I know that it sounds weird to say, like, oh, why is he the bad guy? But the way that this show was set up in the first 5 episodes, it wasn't set up to where the show was trying to charm you. It was trying to charm you into thinking he wasn't the bad guy. It was showing you. There were all these instances where, other people did things and, he wasn't responsible, and they would make sure to tell you directly, like, hey, wait a second, he didn't do that, he didn't do that, he didn't do that. And, they had other characters who were, a lot creepier and, were much better as suspects. And to me, I compared it, as I've stated before, and I'm doing this in case people are watching who have not watched my Cape Fear reviews yet. But I've stated before that I thought originally that this was inspired by another movie called Past Midnight, which, to be honest, it would fit so much better with the story. Because now they're basically making the whole thing about romance, like a twisted romance between Max Cady and Anna, Amy Adams' character. That's what all the conflicts boil down to. And, I did say earlier, I said they have great chemistry. They would work really well together as a couple. But, like, he's the bad guy. So it's like, who cares? Like, it's not good, guys. Yeah, but in Past Midnight, it was a very simple story, but it still had a big mystery. It was all about this woman who, I can't remember what she was. She was like a journalist or a social worker, and she falls in love with this guy who quite possibly killed his family, and he was just let out, and, he's insistent that he didn't do it, and there's this big mystery. And then at the same time, people are getting killed in the present day, and so she's trying to figure out, like, is she falling in love with a serial killer, who killed his entire family? And here we have this version of Cape Fear, and again, like, that movie lines up so much better with what this show is doing. Oh my god, what the hell was that? I have no idea what the hell that was. I'm so sorry, guys. I literally just got scared shitless right on the podcast. I think that was somebody trying to call me. It was some kind of spam thing or something, some kind of pop-up. I don't know. I clicked out of it. Ugh. Oh my god. I was like, who the hell? Like, is something going to explode or something? But anyways. Ugh. But I'm sorry, guys. This has been a weird day. But anyways, you guys will understand how weird it's been if you check out my vlog, because I did film a vlog today, and I am going to release it. And I'm saying that because it's really embarrassing. And you'll understand after you see it, but basically, sometimes I'm not very good with timing. And, today was a prime example. But anyways, Past Midnight really felt like it fit this so much better. And you know what's hilarious too? It might be completely unintentional. Like, the people who make this show, they might, some of them, somehow they'll get word that, like, somebody said the show reminded them of Past Midnight, and they'll go, what the hell is that? I highly doubt it, because, like, the influence is so strong. Like, it really, really feels like this should be named Past Midnight instead of Cape Fear, because it doesn't really share very many similarities with Cape Fear at all. I mean, Cape Fear worked because of the sexual element and the sexual threat, and because Max Cady was a rapist, and then in prison he got raped, and he got gang raped, and, all this horrible stuff with sexual violence, and none of that is here on this show. Only once in a while, like, he'll put ice cream on a girl's face and then lick it off. Like, who cares? Like, that's not enough to make me go, oh no. Like, it's not enough to scare me. It's not enough for me to get really freaked out, because there's no danger there. I mean, that kind of shit happens all the time. I mean, even worse shit happens all the time. But the whole thing of the original movies was that you knew that this guy was an evil piece of shit rapist, and you knew that this family was in danger, because he's pissed off after all those years of getting gang raped in prison, and how he maybe could have been let off if his counsel had given him better defense. But in this show, for the whole first half or so of the show, they made you question whether or not he's guilty or innocent. And still, by the way, even though he's killed quite a few people on the show, I mean, I think he's killed probably up to 10 people, we still don't know if he killed his family. We still don't know. And there's 3 episodes left. And I don't know. I don't like this show anymore. And I know that might be disappointing to some people. But the way that it's gone, they're playing it so safe. And that figures because, they took the rape element out of the story. Probably for agenda reasons, for feminazi agenda reasons. But they took the rape out. And, you have a character who, he is literally the most likable character of the entire show. I mean, he has a lot of, bad qualities about him. Like, he kills people, and he definitely comes off like, there's something there. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of things about him that, are very sympathetic, like his head injury, and the fact that, we don't know if he killed his family. So then, he lost his whole family. Like, he sees their ghosts all the time, and he's haunted by them. And, a lot of the times, too, he's done good things for these people who clearly don't deserve it. Like this family, this shitty family, the Bowdens. This is one of the shittiest TV families I've ever seen. I mean, some of the choices that they make are just terrible. They're so unlikable. They get more and more unlikable every week, which is not what you want. Like, you want to like the main family because they're the ones who are in danger, I guess. They're the ones who could get raped and killed. And yet, I sympathize more with the guy who might have killed his entire family. What does that say? It doesn't say anything about me, okay? Because there's been plenty of movies and shows, where I've disliked the villain, and then I've liked the heroes. I've wanted the heroes and heroines to get, to be safe, to be protected. But in this show, this family is just so unlikable. They're so unlikable. I hate them. I hate them with a passion. Now, in this episode, it might be one of the top 3 worst episodes of the season. Okay? Because they start off and they're like, okay, we're going to have this kind of like abrupt little fight thing happen where the dad has was it the daughter? I can't remember. I think he has his daughter aim the gun at Nevaeh, and then he goes across the street to confront Max and to get his son back, and his son is talking to Max as if they've gone fishing, and he has a southern accent all of a sudden. And his dad tries to take him outside, and this is when Max is starting to cause a scene, and he's starting to say, like, he's just an innocent boy, don't hurt him. And you can tell that he's, bullshitting. And then all of a sudden, the dad, Tom, has a fight with Max, and he beats the hell out of him on the street. And then his son stabs his dad. And then Tom just is like, oh no, my son stabbed me in the upper back. Oh no. It's pretty weird. Like, the way that it's done, it just doesn't feel real at all. It feels so contrived. And you know what else is really contrived? Oh no. Somebody got their cell phone out and they recorded him beating up Max. Oh no. I wonder if that's going to come back to haunt him later. Oh no. Oh no. And another incident went viral. So, the show is showing you, with all this AI shit and this, and these videos, these viral videos, anybody can be targeted, by some terrible, like, just any person, you could be framed for anything, because anything, you could be put on TikTok. Oh no. Or no, don't they call it like Citizen or something? They call like the social media website like Citizen, like, oh no, look, dad's on Citizen. Because they made sure to show that the daughter is staying with her supposed real father, and he shows her the viral video of her dad beating up Max. And that was cringe. And so, I guess you could say there's like 2 big plots of this episode. There's the A plot, which is basically like a 2-person character study. And then you have the B plot with the main characters, I guess you would call them, the mom and dad, and they're just the biggest pieces of shit on earth at this point. Like, they're just so unlikable. I despise them. I couldn't care less if they live or die. Like, if this is a story where it ends up to where Max wins, I literally don't even care, to be honest. Like, the stakes are gone. They're completely gone. Because who am I supposed to care about? Like, who am I supposed to root for? Everyone's so stupid and dumb, and they're so, like, just unlikable and just ugh. Ugh. You know, and you'll understand more after I talk more about the episode. But anyways, the parents try to visit Zach, and he is in a psych ward, and the doctor says, now this is some of the dumbest bullshit ever. The doctor says something like, we found vials of motion sickness drugs inside the walls. And I don't know, like, I didn't understand, like, see, a lot of this show has been very, like, tell and not show, you know, for a big part of it. And this is a very important instance. Like, they're basically saying that Zach went into this dissociative psychosis because there were drugs in the wall. Like, they didn't really explain that. It's just like an assumption that, like, you'll understand, just like in the last episode where, you know, you had the voice message thing to, you know, Heather from Daredevil, and Tom is like, oh, Max Cady was using AI shit. And it's like, well, how do you know? And how are we, the audience, supposed to know that? Like, are we supposed to put together the story ourselves? And here you have an instance where it's like, okay, like, we found vials of drugs in the walls. So what? What is that supposed to mean? Like, they're saying, I guess, that Nevaeh drugged Zach. But how? Is she injecting him? Like, I literally, I thought that the show was telling me that because the vials of drugs were in the walls, that the stuff was spreading from outside the wall just by being there. And I know that sounds mentally retarded, but that's what the show, that's what it seemed like. That's what it felt like they were trying to say was the explanation. And, you know, it's just so dumb. So they're not allowed to see Zach. And oh, by the way, the doctor says this psychosis could continue forever if the person who gets drugged had problems to begin with. And we know that Zach originally, you know, he did that bad thing like a year ago where he shared that girl's nudes all over and ruined her life or whatever. Which, by the way, I'm starting to get really pissed off. Because, like, if Max really was the bad guy, I could have imagined such a better outcome of that whole situation with Max, especially. Like, could you imagine Zach going to Max and saying, hey, can you help me out with this girl? I mean, some really, really bad shit could have happened there. And it would have been so much better. It would have been so much scarier. It would have told you exactly what's going on. Like, Max is the bad guy, clearly, I guess. But instead, everything is just it's so lame. It's so lame. Like, what is this all building up to? Is it just building up to the same old shit with, like, the dad fighting Max, and then, I don't know, like, maybe he dies in the water or something? I don't know, but, like, what is going to be the outcome? I almost think the way that they've shown, you know, now 2 instances where Tom has assaulted someone on camera, they've really emphasized it. So what I think is going to happen is I think that Tom is going to go to prison, and I think that Max is going to stay out, and he's going to take over the family. Which, that would be a really, really weird ending. But I just don't know. I don't know what else they could do at this point. Everything that they're doing, I don't like. I feel like it's just, it's stupid. It's stupid and silly, and it's dull. It's very dull. I mean, the stuff that they're doing, it almost has started to feel like a Lifetime movie in the way that it's so dull, and it's just, they're not taking, for a show that built itself up on, we're going to take chances. We're going to take all these chances and, do all these things that you never would have expected to happen in this story, in this show. They have now reverted back to playing it safe. So anyways, let's talk about the A plot first. No, let's talk about the B plot with the Bowdens, with Anna and Tom Bowden. So they're home. They have nothing to do. Remember that whole story about how, like, oh, we're gonna monitor our children 24 hours a day to make sure we know exactly where they are. Well, they literally just completely give up. They literally just are like total, they're so selfish. These are such selfish characters. Like, yes, they know that their son is in a psych ward. Who cares? This is Cape Fear. How do they know that Max isn't going to try to get to their son? Like, I could imagine a Dracula Renfield type of scenario where, Max gets to Zach, and then even so, okay, this is what I would have them do. If Max is totally the bad guy, he's able to hypnotize people without even being in the same room, apparently. And by the way, they have not followed up on the murder of Faith in episode 5. So they have not followed up on that at all. But we know that he can do things without even being in the room. So the way that I would imagine this working out is he could hypnotize Zach from afar, and then Zach could break out of the psych ward and he could go around killing people. He could just go on a slashing spree and just break out of the psych ward. Like, that would be really, really dark. But it would be something that I think that would be a really memorable sequence, and I think that would work really well into the story if they wanted to do something different, if they wanted to do something really insane. Just have him stab his way out of the psych ward under Max's hypnosis. Like, Dracula and Renfield. Like, that would be really, really, really creepy. But no, the parents, they don't care about Zach. So Zach is in a psych ward. They don't care about him. They're not going to monitor him. And then you have the daughter, which I can't even remember the daughter's name. But the daughter, they left her with her original father. And then they have this whole drama where apparently, I guess, I get, like, it's so confusing at this point. They make it to where basically all the drama now, it reminds me of, like, Goosebumps, stay out of the basement. Like, who's the father of which kid is whose son or daughter? Like, I have no idea. And so they try to make it to where there's, like, this mystery of, like, I guess the daughter, maybe she's Tom's daughter, and maybe the whole reason why they covered up, maybe the whole maybe what this entire show is about is a love triangle. You have a prosecutor and a defense attorney, and because they got into a relationship while they did the trial, that was an inappropriate relationship. And so that would have let Max Cady go. And so I guess he impregnated her during the trial, and I guess that is the whole. I mean, I'm just making stuff up here. I'm just taking what they gave me. But I guess they're saying that that's what the whole case boils down to, is that these two people got into a relationship that some people would call inappropriate, which I wouldn't call it inappropriate at all. If there's no deeper cover-up, I have no idea what they're doing here anymore. Like, is there a deeper cover-up? Is there some kind of evidence that they covered up or something? I have no idea. I'm just working with the shit that they're giving me. Or another alternative that they talk about later in the episode is that maybe Max is her dad. Maybe Max is the dad of both children. Which I would have a hard time believing that, because I would say that is just plain silly. So anyways, that whole thing with leaving their daughter with her original father, like, he is literally in one scene of the episode, and then he just completely disappears. Like, she ends up going off, and I can't remember, like, how she... Oh, yeah, Max came over. So I guess we really are talking about the A-plot here. Max comes over to drop off peanut butter, and he leaves her on the doorstep, and then he's about to leave. And you know that this is obviously... Because they're making it so obvious now. He so obviously wants her to do something and wants her to interact with him. So she starts hounding him about, who's my father? Which one is my father? Like, what is the true story? What happened during the trial? What is the real story of what happened? And he basically ends up luring her into going with him on a road trip. And yes, this is real. She is so retarded. She goes with him. But she shares her location with her friends. So, that makes it okay. Like, hey guys, I shared my location and I went on a road trip with Ted Bundy. I think it'll be okay. And she also takes a gun with her. And the whole time I was just wondering, like, what the fuck did her original dad do the whole time? Like, how is the original dad... I forgot the stupid guy's name. He never, ever comes into the picture the entire rest of this episode. So I guess he has no idea she's gone? I mean, the writers suck so bad that they couldn't even explain that. I mean... With all these other movies and shows in the past, you've had this story where, like, a character gets left with someone and then maybe the bad guy comes and gets them. There's always some sort of an explanation of, the person watching over them, they were asleep or they were distracted and then they try to get help. And, like, there's always some sort of an explanation. But on this show... There's no explanation whatsoever. It's just like, oh, well, whatever. She's gone, so, we're just gonna forget about it. And that's what I would call lazy storytelling. They're playing it safe. Oh, yeah, and by the way, too, because this show has so many things going on. It's already like a merry-go-round doing this review, but, they mentioned that Nevaeh denied that she had any involvement with Max. And then also Max, he pulled up these plot convenience text messages to show his daughter. I mean, not his daughter, but the main daughter, the Bowden daughter, the token lesbian. He shows her these convenient texts, and he's like, here, look. Here's the text. Look at the texts. This proves that I'm not involved with her. That's literally what the show does. And again, that's laziness. That's lazy writing. It's plot conveniences. It's lazy. It's really, really bad. So then we get this extended sequence with them going on a road trip together. And to be honest, I thought that this was probably the only good thing about the entire episode. Although you could kind of predict what was going to happen, there really wasn't any suspense behind it because you know that he's not a rapist, and so there's no hint that he's going to assault her or anything. Like, if this was Robert De Niro, you knew that she would be completely screwed. I mean, he would probably... He probably would have raped and killed her within the first 5 minutes of the episode. But because this is Javier Bardem's Max Cady, who is... I have no idea what they were thinking with that. He comes across still as sympathetic, but then also manipulative. Like, there's a moment where he loses control of the car because of his head injury, and it gets so bad that she has to take over, and, you know, they almost get in a wreck. And then she has to drive from then on. And by the way, they say that this is going to be a long drive. And they never stop to go to the bathroom. They never stop to get food. They never stop to just do normal human people things. And all of a sudden, after they say it's a really long drive, all of a sudden they're at the destination. Which, by the way, she got in the car not knowing where he was going to go. She literally got in the car with a guy that she hardly knows. And she didn't even know where he was going to go. And so he takes her to his family's house. And it's so cliche what happens here. He's like, you'll stay in the car. I can't do his accent. You stay in the car, sweetie. And she does not stay in the car. She walks to the backyard, and there's all these dogs. And see, this is where I think it's weird. Like, it felt like they were trying to make an analogy for Max, or maybe for a different character, because she sees these, maybe they're mongrels, I don't know what they are, but these big dogs that are just really, really mean, and they're in cages, and they're barking at this girl. And then she sees this really nice looking dog, and she goes up to it and starts petting it, and it seems like it's really nice. But then this other character, this new character, he comes out of nowhere, and he reveals that dog has worms. And so maybe that's some sort of an analogy that, like, oh, just because Max seems like he's a nice guy, that doesn't mean he's a good guy on the inside. Maybe he's a really bad guy. Whatever. At this point, whatever. So this new character, he's really interesting. He's really creepy. And you know what? He actually kind of looks like Robert Mitchum, which I thought was really interesting. So they introduce him, and he asks the daughter if he can kiss her, which that was really random. And what I think that they were trying to do there is maybe they're trying to hint that they're trying to do more like feminazi, like just where it's very light and tame, hints at sexual violence, because they can't really go full in because, they're too feminist to do that. They're too sensitive. They're too pussified to do that. So he just says, "Oh, can I kiss you?" And I guess that's also trying to hint that maybe that's where Max has gotten his problems from like his sexual problems, like where he grabbed that one guy's crotch and he licked that girl's face and he kissed Anna. Maybe they're saying, "Oh, well, see, well, this kid has been around this family and this is where he's learned to do that," I guess. I have no idea. The show just won't tell me anything. And that's really what this whole show has been, is like, we're going to tell a story, but we're not going to tell you anything. We're just going to let you, just figure it out for yourselves. Which is really not a very fun experience. So she goes around front, and it turns out that that's some guy who just watches the dogs. He takes care of the dogs. And then Max is being degraded by his dad, who's played by Ron Perlman. And we see the interaction between them, and you can clearly see that he got really messed up from growing up with Ron Perlman as his father. And his mom, she has dementia and she can't even remember who she is. It's just a really ugly scene. And then Max leaves and you're just kind of like, why did we have this? What was the point? Just so that the audience could see that he had screwed up parents? Like, what really was the point? So then Max... And by the way, Max told the daughter all about his childhood, too. So anyways, he then takes her to this place, that Bluff Point at the Cape Fear Lake. And see, this is where I think the show also, again, tells the audience without showing in a really, like, indirect way. Because earlier in the episode, we heard Zach say that he wanted Max to take him fishing again. So to me, that implied that Max has taken Zach fishing at this lake before. Somehow he took their child out of state and they never knew about it at all. I mean, I have no idea what they're doing here. And then, of course, Nevaeh, she had the picture of the cross at Bluff Point. And he said, I want to take you there someday, on the back of the picture. So I guess he took her there, too. I guess he takes people there, and then he baptizes them, and then he spends time with them. I have no idea. Like, at this point, like, I don't even care. Because the show is just not giving me anything except for the exact shit that I didn't want. So, but when they get there, somebody is already there. The guy who helped Anna rig up the cell phone, he went there to investigate Max and to investigate his sister, because we also find out that Juliette Lewis is his sister. And he is investigating this houseboat that Max has. Or is it a houseboat? I don't know. It's a boat. And so you wonder, like, what is Max wanting to do with the daughter here? Well, I guess he doesn't want to rape her because there's no appearance of any kind of sexual threat. The only thing that we see him do that is kind of sus and suspicious is, I mentioned that they never stopped to eat. Well, he injected a peach with tranquilizer and then he fed it to the daughter. He gave it to her to eat. The only thing that I can think of, I mean, I don't even know, actually. Like, why did he drug her? Because, I was gonna say, like, maybe he drugged her so she wouldn't be able to say, like, how they got to the lake. But I'm pretty sure that if that guy could find it, then the family could find it. So I have no idea. But while she's conveniently drugged, Max has a confrontation with that guy, which I don't know his name. I'm not gonna say the black guy because I mean I don't know. Like I'm not trying to insult him, you know, it's just that I don't know his name. Is it Jeff? I can't remember at all. He's hardly been on the show, and his character is kind of a bitch for helping them like this. I mean, we come to see too that like Tom and Anna, they basically are helping out these people who are falsely accused, and then they're keeping them around, like, just in case they need them to do something for them, like dirty work. And it's like that again, it just shows how selfish and evil Tom and Anna are. Like, why are they just so into themselves, and they're so sleazy. So they get that guy killed. Max kills him because he saw the daughter was there with him. Which I thought, you know what, like, whatever. That's the first time we've seen Max kill an innocent person on screen. And it's like, whatever. It wasn't very impactful to me. It was just kind of stupid. It was just kind of like, oh, really? This is the most interesting thing that they thought could happen? Because to me, like, I thought that the whole danger and the whole suspense was going to come from the other plot. And I'll talk about that when I get to it. Oh my god, this is already 42 minutes? Wow. See, there's so much shit to talk about in this slop. So anyways, then the girl wakes up, which, by the way, I would like to say, I loved the dynamic between these two characters, like the acting. And even though I really don't like the token lesbian, because she's a token lesbian, I mean, that's not the character from the originals. She's actually really, really good. I really, really like her a lot as an actress. I really loved the acting she did in this episode. I thought she was probably the highlight, even more so than Javier Bardem in this episode. She did such a great job, so that's one nice thing to say. But she wakes up, and then she figures out that maybe she's his daughter or Tom's daughter. I don't even know. So then she runs into the water to kill herself? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, and by the way, earlier in the episode, another thing that I forgot is that she started drinking again. And she calls her mom, and she's clearly drunk, and she's like, "Mom, tell me the truth." And her mom is like, "No, sweetie, I will not tell you anything." Like, that is literally the conversation. Like, you know, Anna, you know, the main characters, they're so unlikable. It's not even funny. Okay, so it ends with Max baptizes her, which I didn't know what that was for. And then she says, "I didn't feel anything." And then Max says, "That's because you still haven't changed." I don't know what the hell that's about. So then he takes her home, and at the end of the episode, like, it's really weird, like, they show this shot of him, and he looks like he's about to cry or something. Like, he looks really sad. And so then that story's over. Now let's talk about the shitheads. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. The Bodens. The Boden husband and wife. They come up with an idea. Their best plan to deal with Max is not to focus on their children and their safety, but it is to do something highly illegal and something that shows you that they were always terrible lawyers and that they should be disbarred. They should both go to prison themselves. Their plan is to have Anna's dad, played by Buffalo Bill himself, and also Captain Stottlemyre from Monk. It was nice seeing him. He's a great actor. Their plan is to have him go plant drugs in Max's house, and some of the drugs would be those psychosis drugs that made Zach, that made him go crazy, I guess. That's their best plan, is to plant drugs in Max's house and then have him get arrested for drugs. So right there, number one, I forgot, I couldn't really... The dad did some really bad things, I guess. I mean, I can't remember, it was hard to hear at some points. The actors were kind of mumbling, and the subtitles were not working, but the dad did some terrible things in the past, but, the way that Anna and Tom are treating him, it's like everyone around them, they just want to use them for their benefit. So they want... I mean, she's asking her own father to risk his life planting drugs in someone's house. And see, I thought if I was writing the show, I thought the coolest thing that could happen is to have a classic Hitchcock suspense sequence. You see the dad trying to plant the drugs in his house, and, everything goes wrong. Or maybe it's just is he going to get caught? Is he going to get caught? There could have been so much suspense, and then you could have a twist. Well, this other person was already there, maybe his sister, maybe Max himself, and then he gets killed. And then that plan is done. That would have been so much better. That would have been so much scarier. Instead, what happens is that he plants the drugs off camera. Again, they pick the least interesting options to happen. And then Tom calls this private, tip line, hotline thing for Crime Stoppers or something. And he calls in that Max has drugs. And that is the very end of the episode. So, yeah, to be honest, I know that this is going to sound harsh. Which, honestly, I'm so disappointed about this episode. It was such a huge letdown. Even though I would grade, the dynamic that the daughter and Max had, I would grade that an A. I really liked seeing them go on this road trip. I thought it was interesting. It was, even though it had a lot of problems and the way that it ended was kind of lame. To be honest, I would have to give this episode an F. I was really disappointed in it. And I hope that you guys liked it. If anyone's watching, I hope that you guys really enjoyed it, because somebody deserves to enjoy the show. Somebody out there deserves something to enjoy. But I really, really despised it. it really is coming off clear now, I guess, that Max is the main bad guy, but then also the main characters are terrible, and, you know, I just really don't know how this is all going to end. As I said before, I guess what I'm thinking is that he's going to steal Tom. He's going to steal Anna away from Tom. He is trying to steal Tom's life. So he's going to get Anna and both kids. And then Tom is going to go to prison. That is what I think is going to happen. That is what I think is Max's goal, which I think is stupid and dumb. I think that, you know, just this whole show is a total mess. It's a total mess, and it's just nowhere near as good as it could have been. So anyways, please like this video and comment, and then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews. And lastly, please check out our Patreon page where you can get exclusive access to tons of bonus content and exciting stuff coming soon, including my short film, which is already there. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.